Hi, and welcome to the 2 Minute Warning. I'm your host, Perry Busby. 2 Minute Warning is brought to you by the West Side Gazette, South Florida's, one of South Florida's oldest African American owned newspapers, celebrating our 51st year, serving the Broward and greater Miami-Dade community. And joining me is my co-host, Mr. Bobby Henry, publisher of the West Side Gazette. Bobby, how you doing, my brother?
Perry, I like to say I am terrific and getting better. And that's the truth. Sometimes you have to say it and believe it. So I am terrific and getting better. Yeah, in spite of or despite, all that is happening around us, I am terrific and getting better. Now let's do this, man. Since you're from Texas, is that correct? Beaumont, if I'm not mistaken.
I am born and raised in Texas.
What in the Sam heck is going on with Texas, man?
I asked that in the same light. I guess I would ask someone born and raised here in Florida. What the hell is going on here?
Kick it back.
but no, I really can't explain it except to say that this is a reflection of us, and as bad and as brutal as it is, and man, I have to be honest. Ever since I heard that news, just knowing the area, Uvalde is not a sprawling city. I mean, when you say just working class people, it is truly just working class. It's you don't have a lot of people saying I'm going to Uvalde unless they're from Uvalde. You understand? And to find that something like this has happened in a town like that, and like I tell you, I pick up my granddaughter from, and she's in third grade. I pick her up most days, not every day, but man, these are some somber days for anyone having to, you're just, first of all, just thankful.
Not playing with that lightly. Our hearts and our prayers go out. I know, people say that they have become accustomed to hearing our thoughts and prayers are with you. And if we go back to biblical and scripture, it says, faith without works is dead. So we have to put some meat, on these bones. And God knows, man, that situation is one that touches us to the core, and it's,
And you and I was talking about it earlier. I mean, we were in that generation. More so me, I was sandwiched in between, the Sunday school bombing, and those things. And now, and it's really hard to fathom. I've never had a day growing up where I really feared something like that happening at school. If I could be honest, that was the furthest thing from my imagination. And now it's a common thing.
You mentioned the church bombing, and to let the audience know, I think you're talking about Birmingham.
The Birmingham church bombing. Yeah. With the poor little girls, right? Yeah. And so sandwiched in between. I mean, because that was the last, sort of remembrance we had of our kids being attacked in a vulnerable place, to that degree. And I'm sure that I'm not trying to overlook any other, but I'm just saying in terms of history, what we talk about the Birmingham church bombing, and then now sandwiched in between this, I mean, where our kids are just, I mean, open targets. You know, it's hard to say that we've progressed in these times, and we are better.
You know, Perry, yeah, as things unfold, and the more they look into this situation, you know, I ask myself, you know, if what they're saying, those parents are saying about them being on the outside of the school, and they could hear the shooting going on inside, and the police or the law enforcement folk wouldn't let them, wouldn't go in and wouldn't let them go in. And one parent jumped over the fence after she was handcuffed and released to go into school to get her kids and come back out. What is that saying about those who are in charge, are supposed to be in charge of protecting? When the stuff get hot, they seem to run the other way. So,
yeah. When what they say, hunting ain't fun when the rabbit got the gun.
The rabbit got the gun.
In this case, I mean, and especially when you overlay this on the senseless murder of just black, not even black men, black people now, at even just the sight of a gun or the presumed sight of a gun. I mean, they're blazing in one places, and but I thought about the deputy in the Parkley shooting. Remember that trial?
Peterson.
And
yeah.
And so you wonder, how will that play in that? I mean, yes, law enforcement should have gone in. Wow. But what happened? I think maybe sometime maybe they just didn't have the qualified people, and that needs to be a question that we need to ask maybe some police departments. You get it. I mean, there's only so much personnel resources that you're gonna pull from in a small town.
Yeah, but one would think, and hope and pray that if you don a uniform and you carry a gun, that you take an oath to serve and protect, not to serve and haul, go exactly the other way. So when the feces hit the fan, you stuff change quick, fast, in a hurry.
Yeah. Well, and a lot will, and I'm sure a lot of attention will be on Houston over the weekend as the NRA and Republicans, prepare to show everyone that yes, we's married.
Oh.
or at least we common law or something.
Yeah.
But they're letting us know that they are quite in bed together on this.
There was a brother, and we're gonna go into the show. There was a brother, Mr. Johnson. I think it's John Johnson. I forgot his title specifically, but he said when asked how do we combat this, how do we deal with this, and he said that we need an Emmett Till moment. Now, what he meant by that is the whole world saw how ratchet and ugly and hideous the situation with Emmett, and his mother was willing to put it out on Front Street. Now, what would happen? What would happen if the world saw babies disfigured and blown away from an assault rifle at point blank range? What would that do to the psyche of America? So maybe we do need to have a Emmett Till moment. but there has to be an answer to this. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. All right.
Well,
And
and part of that is what we're talking about tonight.
yeah.
Uh, you you know we just like the Israelites. I think we too end up being caught up looking for a savior,
Mm,
and we are who we need.
mm,
We can do this. I mean, I don't care how many scriptures you use and we've shouted and lived off of them, but until we make those similar feats happen, because they're available to us.
mm-hmm.
And I know we got some sisters on who know that and who believe that, and we say we believe that, but we got to act on what we believe.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. We're going to continue our conversation as it pertains to one of the greatest powers that we have, and I think is stronger than a dollar bill, and that is our voting, our power to vote. And we have three ladies tonight, and we're going to talk about uh, voting, the community, getting them out to vote. And our first guest is no stranger to, and Perry, it just so happened that these ladies are, I know one of them is a preacher's kid like yourself, and they
Mm-hmm.
are involved in their churches and their community. But our first guest, is, like I said, is no stranger to the struggle, uh, both in her community, in her church, and in her sorority. But a lot of folk don't know that Miss Gordon was a hell of a basketball player too. So if we can, let's bring on Miss Cunique Gordon, please.
Hello, hello.
What's happening, Q?
How are you? Thank you all so
Very
much for having me on this evening. I really
mhm.
appreciate the opportunity.
Okay, very good. And Ms. Gordon, before we really get into what you're doing, give us just a little bit, if you can do it in 30 seconds, about who you are.
Well, as stated earlier, I'm just a little girl from Hallandale. I am a graduate of Hallandale High School. I attended Florida A&M University, where I got a degree in computer science, and I'm currently working for Broward County for about 35 years. And I will be retiring at the end of this year. And I decided to, hey, I got to do something. After I saw what has been happening with voting rights and all of the various things that we are dealing with as a society. And so I'm here to serve my community, to do what I can. And it's something that my grandmother used to always say, if you could help someone along the way, then your living will not be in vain. And so that is something that I live by, and that is something that I definitely want to make sure that our listening audience knows that that's coming from my heart. If there's something that I can do for someone, then my living will not be in vain.
Okay, cool. Who we
And I'm a
got?
member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated,
Okay,
the South Proud Alumni chapter.
mhm, very good.
Okay. And our next guest, Bobby, is
Mhm.
Elder Catrice Johnson. Elder Johnson is the associate pastor at Greater Ebenezer Missionary Baptist Church, which is under leadership of Pastor Wayne Allen Sr. Catrice is also a former co-host of Sister to Sister talk show on Gospel Radio AM 1490, WMBM in South Florida. And currently, she serves as the congregation organizer for Broward for the Faith in Florida, a faith based social justice agency. Uh, Elder Johnson.
Thank you all
Good
for
evening.
having me. Good evening, and thank you all for having me on this evening for this great topic. I heard you, Mr. Henry, say one of the greatest powers we possess is that power to vote. Just to give you a little brief um, knowledge about myself, I am a native of South Florida. I was born in Dade County. I moved to Broward and raised in Broward. I moved to Broward. And I also went to Hollandale High. And I'm kind of cute. I don't want to get a years in the gaps. But she has always been like a big sister mentor to me. And I played on a championship team called Hollandale High School as well. But I would like to say that Q is the one with the state championship. We went to state 3 times, never brought it home, but Q is that girl. And also I forgot about that until he brought that up. Yes. And so with me, I am standing on the shoulders right now as I am in my calling. I would like to say, as an organizer, I am standing on the shoulders of some giants and pioneers of our community that have paved the way and have gone before us. And I am just filling a small portion of my father's shoes
Yeah,
and trying
yeah,
to carry out his legacy. And he kind of, I say it like this, it's kind of like the relay race. I was brought into this work. I had a call by my current boss now, Dr. Rhonda Thomas, and you'll hear from her in a minute. But I got a call into this great work of civic engagement, organizing with her. And my father, that was in 2017 in November, and my father was kind of showing me the ropes because he had been out there in the political realm and community engagement. And then he ended up dying yesterday, made 4 years ago.
yeah.
And
Mm,
yes, yes, yes.
mm.
And I like to say, when the runners in the relay race, the person that passed the baton, that person, once that baton is passed, the person that passed the batons runs a little and falls off. And that's what happened. And I am so
Pick that
grateful
up.
that God, to be able to pick it up, and for God to point to me and choose me to carry this next leg.
Very good, very good. Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Joe Johnson.
Yeah.
One,
Josephus.
yeah, one heck of a brother. So you got some
Yeah.
shoes to fill. Okay,
Yeah.
our next guest. Now, I'm human, and sometimes that allows me to make mistakes, and so I won't make a mistake in introducing Reverend Rhonda Michelle Walker Thomas. I'm going to allow Rhonda to introduce herself. Okay, that way she can't say, Mr. Henry, you messed up. So if we could, let's bring on this other fighter, and that she is.
Hello,
Reverend.
everyone. I know
Yeah,
it's probably a little dark because I'm in a truck trying to get home, but I'm so grateful to be a part of this show, and it's okay because God takes all mistakes, and He don't even pay them any attention. So don't worry about it, Mr. Henry. But my
yes.
name is Rhonda Thomas. I do serve as the executive director for Faith in Florida. We are a statewide organization. We cover 35 counties in the state of Florida. I want all 67. I want God to, blow His breath on us so we can cover all 67. And we organize multiracial, multi-faith around racial, economic, and social justice. So our statewide core is protecting democracy, immigration, where we're including Black immigrants who have often been left out, and reducing gun violence in urban communities. So that's basically, and I'm not from Hollandale High, born and raised born and raised in Miami-Dade County, graduating from Miami Northwestern Senior High, and but I do currently live in Broward County.
Mhm. Very good, very good. Okay,
Okay. And so, what are some of the initiatives that Faith and Priority is working on, or and Q, what you're working on regarding voting in our faith community? What's taking place? I know COVID has kind of caused some disruption, but things seems to be coming back together. What's happening from a voting perspective? What are we seeing out there?
Well, Perry, thank you for that question. What has happened for me, and as I was telling someone earlier today, I received a letter from the Supervisor of Elections Office in January. And even prior to that, I basically attended a Democracy Day and also worked with Elder Johnson and attending the Faith in Florida organizations as well. They basically kind of planted a seed for me as far as understanding what was going on with Senate Bill 90 and, just information. But when I got the letter from the Supervisor of Elections Office, it kind of hit me hard because I am a longtime voter. 1985 was when I registered to vote, but it was basically telling me that I had to re-register. And I'm saying, well, why would I have to re-register? What's causing me to re-register when I've been an active voter? And so after looking at that and investigating, I found out that I had to update my voter ID, making sure that my driving license and my last four digits of my social was connected to my voter ID. And it was very difficult for me to actually update my records. I mean, I'm a computer information systems person,
Hey,
and
hey,
it was very hard for me to do that.
hey,
So
Kinnear,
so mhm.
Pastor Rhonda, can you go on mute until
Okay.
you're able? Yes, thank you.
And so what that did for me after looking at the fact that I had to update my records and hearing information from both Faith in Florida and also Democracy Day, which was started by State Representative Woodson, I said, Lord, something has to happen. I have got to do something. And so by doing that, the Lord just put in my spirit to go to the people. You have to go where they are. And so I decided to go ahead and start a social action, a vote, your vote matters social action movement that I'm going out to the churches and I'm informing them about what was planted into me about Senate Bill 90 and also doing voter registration at Sunny's on at least once a month. And it has been an amazing opportunity because a lot of people don't even know what I'm talking about. And we're talking about a actual bill that was passed in May of 2021. And we still do not know what this bill is and what it's causing and how it's affecting our elderly, our students who are at in college. So I decided to do an actual movement. And this is what I'm calling it, calling the community to get out to vote.
Very good. As we're engaged right now, I understand that the NAACP has a forum going on with candidates for District 5. And I also understand that there was something done over the weekend with Stay Woke. Now,
Yes.
now, so it appears that we're trying to uh, canvas and get out information to as far as we can.
Hmm.
Can you, Miss Johnson, what is Faith in Florida, and what are you doing?
Okay, as we are grassroots, and we are all in the community. We are in the churches. We are, and we are multi-faith, multicultural, multiracial. So it's not just in our Black communities. We are out. We are under the trees. We're in the beauty shops, the barber shops. Um, we are all throughout the community. We do town halls. We do listening sessions. We do
Mhm.
forums, candidate vetting forums, and we are eliciting even more. We have some, but we are welcoming phone bankers and canvassers to go out into the community. And we're just trying to keep we for the last 2 years, Faith in Florida have been engaged in the legislation session. Uh, and what we have decided that we will no longer be uh, the part of the menu, but we will be a seat at the table.
Table.
And so we are we have engaged to the fact that we have met with elected officials and say what are you doing, and if you are not doing what the community have asked you to do, um your reelection is coming up, and that's a time where we build power, and we meet with our clergymen, our faith leaders, our impacted community, and we let them be the voice, the prophetic voice in the community, and speak on behalf of the people and hold those people accountable.
Um, if we can we bring up that flyer, Miss Gordon? It's something that you guys are doing. Here we go. Can you speak to this a little for us, please?
Yes, this is an event that is upcoming on June the 17th. It's going to be at the Foster Park facility. We are in collaboration with Broward Culture Division, the city of Hallandale. We are having a pre-Juneteenth celebration. And normally I have the voter registrations at Sunny's, but this particular time we are actually doing this at Sunny's, at Foster Park at the event. We are excited about this because this is the first time that we have ever done this, that Broward Cultural Division is partnering with us. We will have food and also food trucks. And what's going to be amazing that has never happened before is we will have an opportunity for our community to actually do oral history, where they actually will be telling us about their experiences in Hallandale and also at the facility, which is Foster Park. And so we could not do an event without not having voter registration, because as we continue to keep moving towards those particular dates, and one date in particular is July the 25th, which is the last time you can update your records for the primary election. We have to make sure that we are continuing to educate, engage, and empower the people in the city of Hallandale Beach.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I'm excited about it.
Sure, that's good. Reverend Thomas, are you all working in unison with Miss Gordon and that group, or I know that seems to be a huge operation.
Uh,
Well, I think it depends on the county itself, because with Faith in Florida, since we're in 35 different counties, we have about, if you're talking about just the Juneteenth event, Faith in Florida has about 25 different events going on across the state. But we are in support with partners with, other activities and events when it comes to educating and bringing awareness of what's going on with our legislative session, the lack of Black representation, um, as well as not just registering our voters, but also pushing the effort of getting them out to vote. Faith in Florida runs about the largest souls to the polls in the state of Florida. And so that's the part when once we register them to vote, we need to make sure they literally get out to vote. And so, but we always are in collaboration with partners as well to make it a success and to make sure that we reach as many voters as possible. Especially, we're definitely targeting young people, because we know they have a different way. They look at our voting system out of a different set of lenses. And so it's going to take a little more work, but it's going to be worth the work and just
Yes.
engaging our millennials and our Gen Zs, and making sure that they feel a part and that their voice is heard of this beloved community that Faith in Florida is trying to build.
Perry, you and I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ms.
Okay.
Johnson.
I would like to add, yes, Faith in Florida have been working at the table with the event that will take place in Hollandale, but
Yes.
also Faith in Florida will host in Broward, right up the street from you, Mr. Henry, off of Sis Trunk at Smitty's Restaurant on June the 15th. I don't have a flyer available on tonight, but we will get that flyer to you, and we will host a Juneteenth celebration event at Smitty's off of Sis Trunk on June the 15th.
You
And
know,
voters registration will be one of the main components of that event. And there would, and Mr. Henry, you've seen it on a Wednesday riding through by
Sis Trunk.
Smitty's off of Sis Trunk. You see the youth, the untouched are out there, and that's who we're trying to reach, the untouched. Yes.
Sister Johnson, I'm so glad. Really, I am. I'm so glad that you said that. Perry and I have been talking. Not only Perry and I, we've been working with two different groups, one in Dade and one in Broward. Now these are groups of educated, influential, and some grassroots folk, and we've been talking so many times. These groups meet in silos and do not get the information out, and those who need it are not getting it. Now, we may step on some folk toes right about now. So, Perry, let's have this conversation, y'all. The event with the woke event that was supposed to have been statewide. Now we got people all over the state was saying it was a dismal turnout. Now. So to hear you guys saying that you're going to the streets on Sis Trunk where the brothers and sisters hang out at, that's it. And what do you call it? That's engaging, and it gives us hope. Now we also talked about, Perry, don't come in with me, don't put me out on this limb by myself. We were talking
No,
about
you're doing
souls to
fine.
the post.
I'm just waiting.
I know we were talking about souls to the post. Now, preacher and reverend, y'all understand us now.
Okay.
Okay, come on here now. You
Okay, I'll jump in
help
on
me
this
out.
one. And Pastor Thomas, I know I'm sure and involved in 35 counties, you've seen varying degrees of what works in certain counties and amount of engagement. We had a discussion about souls to the polls. And that is something that all of us who've been around voting understand, and it's deep. It's a part of our history. I love it. But in some cases, souls to the poll isn't working in some counties. And even if it were, my thing is what becomes our new strategy, seeing the different dynamics in the way church is happening now. And again, this is not to disparage anything or say, well, we shouldn't fight for souls to the polls. As I say, it works different in some areas. But I've heard more talk about the fact that it has been taken away, as opposed to some good stratagem about, well, maybe we don't need souls to the polls on a Sunday, but we can do a souls to the polls in some other Friday. Is that beginning to take place?
To be completely honest, based on the data for the state of
Mm-hmm.
Florida, our souls to the polls have been extremely successful. Well, we have
Okay.
had what is it, 89% turnout of getting people out to vote. So we don't just focus on Sunday.
Right.
We can no longer. I started doing souls to the polls in 1980. To be honest,
Mm-hmm.
when it wasn't as big as it was, and when we didn't have early voting, it was only on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when Arthur McDuffie was murdered and Miami-Dade, we burnt down our city, and then we didn't have anyone that care want to help us rebuild. So it
Right.
was clergy that said, "Let's get our people to the polls and vote someone in that cares about what we care about." So here we are, years later, and one of the successes, and I want to just elaborate a little bit on the success. 2018, it was huge. 2020, it grew even further. Um, but we were able to tap into urban communities who are often left out. I'm sorry, not urban, rural communities who's often left out. So we're talking about Madison County, Ocala, who never heard of such thing, but we were able to bring resources in into their community, and it helped make Souls to the Post a success. We went further
Right.
where we had Souls to the Post not just led by our faith leaders, but by our millennials. So millennials was able to draw other young people, which helped turn more people out to vote. So we have been extremely creative.
Mm-hmm.
We had 100 souls to the polls across the state. Well, we called it the entire, it was Souls to the Polls weekend. So it wasn't just on
Okay.
Sunday. It
Right.
was either
Right.
Saturday, Sunday. It had to be a weekend. It just so happened to,
Right.
and we did it both weekends. I think at Broward County, Catrice, Souls to the Polls got rained out. Thank God it
Mm-hmm.
was another weekend
Yeah.
that we were able to resource it.
Right.
So based on our data, and we
Right.
keep data with everything, how many we actually was able to phone bank and canvas, and they committed to, we will vote on doing Souls to the Polls, and then we go back and do the data and say what percentage actually turned out, even in the midst of a pandemic. And
Mm-hmm.
so, you know, I think that it's always, I think we have to be extremely creative
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
in getting people out to vote. We can't just, I mean, I spent a lot of money on just communications and ads, commercials, but digital organizing helped bring us over the loop as well because we were
Right.
steady running digital ads, and encouraging our people, not just black people, but black and
Mm-hmm.
brown, because that's what we focus on. And
Right.
so I'm always open, and I'm one that listen to the young people on how we're gonna make this work.
Exactly.
So
Right.
you may see Faith in Florida banner in the nightclub,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a
Mm-hmm.
if the nightclub owner is talking what we like to talk, share our
Right.
values. We're not leaving anyone out because we're actually meeting the people where they are
Yes.
and having real
Yes.
conversations
Mm-hmm.
and listening so we can go forward. I mean, Florida's in a mess right now. And,
Yes.
and we just be honest, Florida is a little messy right now. But many of our people don't really understand, if we don't do
Glory.
this,
Yes.
we're it was 50 years ago what took place in Selma, Alabama. We're not that far from that.
Yes.
We're about to see a bloody Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday if we're not ready to, and be serious about making some things happen, because this is not a good season to stay home, or nor is it a good season to just complain.
Mhm. Mhm. And
And
SUQ.
yes, I
Go
just
ahead,
wanted to
Judy.
just, you talked about the woke event. I
Mhm.
attended that, and it was a little small, but anything that you do first is going to be a little small at some instances. And so it is their goal to do it every month. And so they're not going to stop until the elections is going to take place. But that's the passion behind it. It was, the energy was very high. Individuals were there, and they also had a follow up, and they wanted to people to text "Stay Woke," STAY woke, all one word, to 52886.
Put that
That's
in
the
the chat.
follow-up.
Yeah, put that in the chat, Q.
Okay.
Put that in,
And
put
what
that in
that
the chat.
and basically what that does is it engages you to make a pledge. See, sometimes we have to, or in our own selves, we have to make a stand for ourselves and say, I'm going to do something. And by you asking me to do something, sometimes that ignites something in you for you to say, okay, well, they're asking me to do something. I think I'm going to go ahead and do this. And that is another reason why I decided to go ahead and do what I'm doing, is because of the seeds that was planted by Faith in Florida, by Democracy Day, that I can make a change and I can do something. And so this is why I created a flyer called calling out the community to get them out to vote. And so I will put this in the chat so that individuals can also, because once you text it, you'll get a information back, and it will then ask you to make a pledge, and it has some other information that comes up from the actual website as well. So they're doing follow-ups, and of course they're asking you for all of your information. So I believe it's a great beginning.
Okay. You know, your thing start. You the journey of a million miles begin with the first step. You know, but I want to get back to what Reverend Thomas was saying. It's extremely important. You know, what you said was you all are all inclusive. You know, you're inclusive. You have not excluded anybody. You know, so my question then is, when you are inclusive and you're getting your message out, who are you using to get your message out?
I'm sorry, when you say who are we using?
Yeah, you mentioned some advertising, you mentioned some stuff. Every time when you mention advertising to a black publisher, we immediately sit up like this. You know, we said that, Reverend. I'm speaking for from 195 years of the black, and I can't think of too many black organizations that are older than 195 years. But to answer my question, that's what I was saying.
Well, for
and not putting you on the spot, I just
no, I don't have a problem responding. I do focus a lot on spending money in Black and Brown communities, because that's what we organize around. You know, if we can bring Black and Brown people together who have so much in common, but we know there are systems that are set up that often divide us. So I do use Black radio, Black advertising, like the Miami Times. You're new to me, so I think I could add you to my list. Definitely WMBM, Cox Media with Hot 105, WEDR. And so it's that we do use a lot of, I have a comms department who takes care of all of my communication. We have our digital organizer who takes care of all of our digital information. So, you know, we're a pretty growing organization. But since, you know, we cover so many counties, we try to also include what local newspapers, you know, that's within counties and cities that we also can plug in to be a partner in getting our message out.
And Reverend Thomas, you see, that's what I'm saying. When it's inclusive, we don't have a problem because it's going to work its way out. You know, and we've had several people on the show, you know, that have not gone, you know, the length and breadth that you all are doing. So that's to be commended, you know, and we don't take this lightly. You know, we've had people come on to talk about what they're going to do, this and that, and it hasn't happened. So thank you so very much for being inclusive.
Yeah,
you know, and
I think it's going to take all of us.
Yes, going to take. You said, and we believe that. I'm sorry, I can't talk too much. Q, we tried to we couldn't put the calling up on the screen because it wouldn't, you wouldn't be able to see it. So
Okay.
can you talk a little bit about your Vote Matters and the social action movement calling the community to get out and vote? What
Okay.
is the
Well,
acronym about that? Mhm.
actually, the calling has the wording here has C is for something, and C right now is for calling to action. Our ancestors are just calling. I know they're talking to me to do something, and that is my reasoning behind a lot of things that I'm doing is because our ancestors have died. I mean, we have gone through so much as a people to do the one thing that all of us are equal at one point in time. When you walk into, you have the same authority like anyone else to actually go out to vote. So that C is for calling. The A is to activate the social action leader in you. You know, there are three ways that we can actually vote. One is early voting. And I know talking to Elder Johnson, she had indicated to me that we're pushing early voting. Early voting. Make sure that you get out to vote early. And that is something that the supervisor of election is also pushing as well for everyone to get out and vote early. Also, the second way is the vote by mail. He also indicated in the vote by mail process, do not, I repeat, do not mail that ballot because the mail system is a little slow.
Mhm.
He's indicated that he's going to have drop off boxes areas all throughout the county. So that's another way. And then, of course, on the election day, making sure that you are definitely prepared. So to activate that social action person in you, the L is leveraging your voice to educate others to vote. We want you to go out and research the vote by mail process. Bobby, Perry, this Senate Bill 90 was passed in 2021, May of 2021. And if anybody registered before that date, that means it's a strong possibility that you're going to have to go back and update your records. Now, they don't tell you that, and no one walks you through it. So it is difficult for all of us because the digital divide is real. Mama them, auntie them, and cousin them don't have, they don't have it. They don't have access to the internet. They don't have, some people don't have smartphones. So leveraging, so if you do not use vote by mail, then you find somebody. You find somebody in your church or in your wherever to actually help them with their vote by mail process. And then the lead the circle of friends and family. What I've done is I've also indicated on my flyer. I put in the vote by mail, the browardvotes.gov. I've also looked at miami-dade.gov and pcelections.org. I have all three voting facilities, supervisor elections on this flyer. And then, of course, increase your voter volunteer activities. This is where we're pushing, where we're saying, get involved. Just don't sit home. Democracy Day started in September. And that's what kind of got my spike going as far as what we needed to do. Democracy Day. Faith in Florida has indicated as well that that's what they're doing. They're asking people for phone banking. We have got to get involved. We can't just sit around any longer. This thing is serious, Bobby and Perry. And I know you guys know that's why we're doing this show. But this is a serious thing that we need to look at. And then to navigate through your community and register voters. What I have is a scan on this document that'll take you directly to the supervisor of elections office, which will actually pull up and have you to register. We have approximately 1.5 million returning citizens in the state of Florida. And when the last congressional seat, how many was it? Five. My hand is five votes. And we have 1.5 million returning citizens. We have got to find them because they will make a big difference in this state. So navigating. And then, of course, the last one is to galvanize and be intentional about this election cycle. We can't just sit around and we have got to be intentional about the other people are intentional. And you can see their results because they are going right on and on, doing what they're doing. So we have to stay woke, be engaged, and making sure that we are building something for the next generation, that we cannot let them down. We cannot do it. We have to get involved, and one little person can make a difference.
Okay, great. And Q, you do have a, what do you call it, a QR code on here, that thing, that screen
Yes, I
thing?
have a. All you do is scan it, and it'll take you straight to the supervisor of elections office, which means that you can check your status. And a lot of people are being purged, and this is something
Mhm.
that I know for myself, and because I believe that's what happened to me. That's why I got a letter.
Okay.
They're purging people, and they're changing your status. So you need to go in and check your status, making sure that you are up to date in everything that you're doing,
Okay.
and then know where your precincts are. Because if you show up at the wrong precinct, you will not be able to vote. That's why you need to vote early, because you can go anywhere. You could go anywhere in the county if you vote early, instead of going to the precinct that you were supposed to be at when you're on the election day.
Yeah. No, and those are all great points. I uh, one of the things that most people will say is I don't know who I'm voting for, especially when it gets to elections that really impact them most. I mean, it's easy when we talk about the state and the federal races, and one of the things we were talking about is how can we come up? Maybe I call it voting by garanimals, where we color code. If
Well,
you live
oh,
in this color code, this is who. I mean, these are. I mean, these
Yeah,
are your candidates. I mean, we really are can assume. As I said, we're asking people to go vote, but if they've never voted, it, they won't tell us how Fred or some of the other possible mistakes. So how can we eliminate that? And again, we one of the things we like to do on here is listen to groups such as yourself and hopefully come up with some ideas to help spur some of the great work that's already being done. But listening to some young people that I come in contact with, yeah, they're all for voting, but precinct, who I vote for, all of that is a big question mark. And again, these are things I hope that we can begin to address. Pastor Thomas, it kind of looks like some of that you
it's ready
you
to
you
start.
all
Yeah,
already
yeah.
doing.
We we have Faith in Florida offers a voter orientation. It's about 30 minutes long. It's for new voters, because what we do is follow whoever registered to vote. We follow them all the way to the poll. And in this
Right.
orientation is for new voters who just registered or returning voters. And it also includes our returning citizens, because many of them who just got their voting rights restored and have all of their fines and fees paid, all those systems that was set up after we won the amendment.
Mhm.
We educate them in our voter orientation. We do it virtual, and it helps them understand the responsibility of the SOE office, what to expect, if you should even have a bad voting experience. That Faith in Florida is here to help you, so we can hold um, all who should be held accountable. We interact with them of accountability, all elected officials, cross party lines. So that's just part of what we do. But we do offer voter registration orientation, so they can really, really be familiar with the voting system. Um, Unfortunately, we know that a bill passed just recent this year, um, where the this police department has been
Mhm.
developed,
Mhm.
and we know that, by law, police are not supposed to be at any precinct unless you call 911. In fact, law enforcement can't even vote. They can't even vote in uniform. But there has
Correct.
been a police department that has been created, supposedly to oversee any fraud. And you have to remember, in 2020, The governor of Florida
Fraud.
felt like Florida was the perfect place and we had no problems. And then when certain folks did not win, then it became problems everywhere. And so during our last legislative session, a bill was passed. And if one is found doing any form of fraud, that will be a felony. It's an arrest and it will be a felony conviction. But we know that's all a part of the voter suppression tactics. So what we do is try to educate um, as many new voters and those who have been. If you have not voted consistently in two different cycles, you'll automatically be purged and not necessarily notified. So what Faith in Florida is doing is because we know we had a low voter turnout based on data in the state of Florida with Black men. So my data person did an analysis for me to let me know in every county in the state how many Black men voters we have that's active, how many that's non-active, and how many have been dropped and they don't know they're dropped.
Mm.
So we have a responsibility to, just like Q said, is we got to find these people, but we're also phone banking just to let them know, do you know you've been dropped from the voting system? Because when they create all these bills, it doesn't mean that they're also creating a budget for our SOE offices to operate in a way to make sure our communities are getting the education and awareness that they need. So this is where organizations come in, where we have to work together collectively to bring this to the attention. And unfortunately, Black voters are impacted all the time anyway. But it's so important that if our vote must be very, very important
Yes.
and powerful, or they wouldn't attack us the way they do.
That's our power.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so
That's our power.
I'll share
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is our power.
And I'll share a real life analogy. And we all know that this started from 3/5, from the 3/5 compromise. We had a guest on here when we first began the 2-minute warning. Guy by the name of Benny Smith, who is an election commissioner for Shelby County, Tennessee. But he's a computer guy and was able to identify some voter, I won't say voter fraud, but it was some underhanded
Some tricks
and sleight of hand counting, and it happened in 4 of the biggest African American precincts in Memphis. And when they looked at it, the results were pretty much about 3/5 of the vote had been cut. And one of the things he said is that, we talk about 3/5 in our vote being made whole, but the 15th Amendment did not make our vote whole. And, as much as they devalue Black people, 3/5, we might need to check that we are not 2/5 or 1/5 in terms of suppression and all that is happening. And these are the things that, I appreciate, Pastor Thomas, you leaning on data, because this is a data fight as well. And I'm glad to hear, that we're bringing that into this, because we've been woefully behind. We talk about what Obama did in terms of social media, but, that left after Obama. And it's good to hear groups like yours are catching up. So great to hear that.
Okay, if we could, let's do this. We getting close to y'all. Let's go around and wrap up. If we missed anything, I want you guys to please put your information up on the screen so our viewers can have it to call and get involved. And we're asking everybody to get involved. Now I know that perhaps, unlike my family, you guys out there, you don't have anybody in prison. You come from a clean cut environment. But let's get our brothers and sisters who are incarcerated. Let's
Mhm.
put them to work. They got time on their hand, pardon the expression, but all they have is time on their hand, and they're willing to work. So those of you who are out there listening, and you may have a loved one, a friend, or somebody who's incarcerated, let's put them to work. They can write letters. They write damn good. They can write letters to make an appeal to give to us to use. They know where the bodies are buried, if you will, under the trees. They still got connections. So let's use our loved ones who are incarcerated to read. What I want to say, how do I want to say this? Now, Bobby, now you know that ain't a word. Hold up. I got y'all excuse me, I got to find a word for this. Let's use them to free us, if you will. And so that's that. So let's go around and wrap up. Let's start with you, Miss Johnson. If we're missing anything, did you put your information up on the
Bobby,
screen? Go, Perry.
and before you do that, can we ask one thing? Because I
Sure.
sometimes you have to put things out there. Also, tell us what you need, as well as one of the things, or at least one thing that could really help turn what you do around. Because I think sometimes we come on here and tell, and we don't put the big ask. And I know it usually comes out as volunteers, but if there's just something that wow, this is opportunity. We have listeners all over who have a skill that may not understand that in terms of just saying I need a volunteer. But if you need some other specific, let's be specific in what we ask for. I'm sounding like my pastor dad, so but you have to be specific. So as you close, please also let us know what those things are as
Okay, thank you again for having me tonight in this segment, in this great topic of protecting our democracy and getting people out to vote. My name is Catrice Johnson. I can be reached at K, that's the letter K, JOHNSON, K Johnson, at Faith, FAITHINFLORIDA.org. And also, you can learn more about Faith in Florida at www.faithinflorida, spelled out, faithinflorida.org. And Mr. Perry, I want to say this right here. Sometimes, and they say that you should always be prepared. Um, I had an ask on tonight for action, and I was gonna say but what I'm getting ready to this, I have this prepared. But for your question, is it a deadline on your question? Is
well. No
it a
deadline.
deadline? Okay, all right, all right.
No
So
deadline.
but I did want to say, in addition to everything that Miss Q Gordon said, I would like for everybody to get out and register and vote, check your status, and find at least 5 people and that are not registered, and get them registered to vote, to join us during voting season at the polls. Thank you.
We're gonna switch up Q. Miss Gordon, let's
Okay,
go
well,
to you.
you're going to go. I'm next. Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to thank you all so much for having us on this evening. I believe that this is how we cut down the gap by talking about it and getting people out and letting them know about things that they don't really know about. What I would ask is that the sororities and the fraternities wake up. We do have the Florida Voter Mobilization Organization that's out there. And so when they call, please answer. That is a big population of individuals in the community that once we get organized, we can take it to the next level. And so children, getting kids involved, that kids want to do something. And so we need canvassers, we need phone bankers. That's what we need. People and the churches to say, we want to do something. And so every church, and this is my ask, every church that listens to this podcast, they need to have phone banks at their churches. Every last one of them. This is how we can make sure that we turn this big ship around. Is making sure that every church, every organization gets involved. Stay on target. When someone is giving you something, make sure that you get out and vote. It is so important for the next generation. And again, thank you all so much. Again, dates to remember. July the 25th is the primary. That is the last time that you can do something with your voter registration or your record. July the 25th. The next election is, of course, the general election, but a date to remember there is October the 11th. October the 11th. That is the last time that you can do anything with your record. If you miss that time, you will not be able to participate in it. So again, I want to thank you all so much for allowing us to come on and talk about this most important right that we have that's being tapped on a regular, on all basis. And to let you all know that right now, our voting rights are dwindled down since the act was passed in 1965. We had more rights back then than we do now. So we have to, parents, please get involved for your babies. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Reverend Thomas?
I so appreciate the both of you for including myself and the Faith in Florida, Elder Johnson. Um, my ask is a lot. I need people such as yourself to continue to drive this message. I need every church who has a platform to talk about it from your pulpit. Um, we need to share with our families, our neighbors, our community. It's a message that has to get out.
Yes, too.
We need our NBA players, NFL players who have a platform, who are also influencers that's from Florida to begin to speak truth to power. Because if not, we're going to lose a generation who will have to go back to the way our grandparents was treated, our great grandparents, because that's when they saw what they call America looking great. It was when we were oppressed worse than what we are, suppressed. And so there's a message that has to get out. If you're a DJ and you got a mic, use the mic to say something positive, to take every rapper, take the language that we're speaking and transform it in a way that would influence our young people, just to get them registered to vote, get them out to vote, and to let Black men, we need you.
Yes.
We know that Black women, we could change some stuff by voting, but Black men, we need you. And so that's my message. That's my ask. We got to share this because we are in trouble.
Yes.
Yes, we
And I
are.
don't think our younger generation has the tolerance that my grandfather had. So, and I'll leave that like that.
These kids that don't even know how to play outside for 3 hours. What you talking
Mr.
about? Ladies, thank you so much. I am so inspired by the work that you're doing, and this keeps us encouraged. It keeps us trying to do what we're doing, and I know sometimes that seems cloudy, but if it's just to spread the word of good work that's going on, and it's not, sometimes we think it's all ours to do. I I thank God for this opportunity to allow organizations like yours who are at the front line to let others know that yes, we need you. Yeah, and I know it's not going to be the masses; it's going to be a few. But I pray that this broadcast reaches some ears to help you get what you need and to help us get this victory that we are so in need of. And so, thank you, and I look forward to having you all back and hearing about some
Yes.
great things and about a celebration. So
Yes.
thank you again.
All right.
Let's get into some good trouble.
Good
Yeah,
trouble.
some good trouble.
I echo the sentiments of Perry, and the majority of our viewers have stated how encouraged they are from you women, and they give kudos to you all. A lot of them saying thank you. You're outstanding. Eric, can you put up Bakari Levy's information? We were talking about some monies. This young man here, and this is for Dade County in particular. Florida Votes. Bakari Levy is an organizer, and they have monies and training to train canvassers and pay them. They train and they pay. They train and they pay. So now, if you're looking for a way to assist and to get involved in Dade County, here is your opportunity to be trained and to be paid. So take that information down and run with it. Now, I cannot say this enough, ladies. I am so impressed that y'all thought it enough to go to the streets to get your message out.
Yeah.
All of y'all, and that's to be mended. So I got to ask, where are the brothers? We had women on here, I can bring some names up, Mona Lisa, that are willing to hit the streets. Where are the brothers? Reverend Thomas asked the question. She made a statement, brothers, we need you. So we need to step up to the plate. We don't want our sisters not necessarily going under the trees, going to visit the homeless, going to do this. We should be doing that. Allow them to do what they're doing, but let us take it to the streets. So we need you. Again, I hope y'all put all your information up so you be contacted. And those elected officials, now doggone it, it won't be long before y'all either be voted out of office or you're going to do what's necessary to stay in office. And what we're finding out right now, these young folk will tell you, we can get Kodiak Black and his posse to come on and tell y'all ain't doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're running from the truth. You scared to speak truth to power. You hide behind your national organizations, which may mandate that you do certain things, but your human organization tell you should. It's time to be Black and unapologetic for being Black. Or you're going to have DeSantis, or whatever his name is, to CRT your behinds right out of existence. So I want to say that, let's get involved. Let's not be scared. Now you can run and tell that. And Facebook might cut me off when I do this. But frankly, my dear, I got to ask this question. And come on, let me ask this question here. Come on, do me right.
Still relevant today.
Yes.
In the words from the streets, if scared, say you're scared. All right, y'all. It's been a pleasure. Night, I love you and can't a
Love you
doggone
too.
do about it. God bless all of y'all.
Thank
Ladies,
you.
talk to
God
us.
bless you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.